Invincible Season 3 is probably one of the most epic and bloody seasons we've seen in the series so far. I mean, it was full of major developments, but it also had a lot of surprising twists that no one expected. So, where do we go from here? What does a certain scene towards the end of the season mean for the future of the franchise? And what can we expect going into Season 4? How's it going, guys? Mike here, and today we're going to talk about Invincible Season 3 as well as what it means going into its 4th season. But before we get into that, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss a video. Now, before we begin, I must forewarn that this video does contain spoilers from the Invincible animated series and comics. So if you have not read the comics or watched the series or are just catching up, you have been warned. Now, for starters, Invincible Season 3 was filled with some amazing developments. I mean, Mark and Eve finally became a couple, we had the highly anticipated Invincible War, and we had Mark's clash with Conquest towards the very end. Plus, Oliver finally becomes Kid Omni-Man, we get introduced to other villains like Powerplex, Mr. Liu comes into the picture along with the Order, I could go on. But while those highlights were awesome, we also had a lot of moments in Season 3 that were completely unexpected. For starters, Rex and Ray end up getting together before Rex loses his life during the Invincible War, and it's a pretty significant development because it doesn't end up happening in the comics. Also, there's a certain scene at the end involving Damian Darkblood that deserves mentioning. To briefly summarize the scene, Darkblood talks with an elderly demon about a surface dweller with great power, the likes of which Earth has not seen in eons. He also reveals that he plans on conjuring this person down to hell using a pentagram. I don't think it's Cecil, and it could be Conquest, given that in the comics, Conquest does escape GDA custody and has a second fight with Mark. But another theory is that it could be Invincible, and here's why. I read an article not too long ago about a certain filler arc that Robert Kirkman never got around to, but originally wanted to put in the Invincible comics, in which Invincible would go down to hell and fight the devil himself. Now, if you look at this scene, it makes perfect sense that they could put Mark in this. Plus, Robert Kirkman also confirmed that Season 4 will have an entirely original storyline. This comes via an article that was posted last week on comicbook.com that confirmed that Kirkman has big plans for Season 4, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. Plus, it kind of makes sense given that we've gotten developments on characters like Shrinking Ray and Darkblood that I think are great because we haven't really explored them in the comics. Either way, this is going to be a treat for both newcomers to the series and veterans of the Invincible comic series alike. Either way, I'm really excited for Invincible Season 4, especially because we could potentially be getting one of the deadliest villains in the Invincible franchise in the form of the Grand Regent Thragg. For those who don't know, Thragg is the ruler of the Viltrumites, and yes, that means he's Conquest's boss. This guy is the ultimate Viltrumite and the baddest of the bad, and he has a lot of blood on his hands. And he's way stronger than some of these other Viltrumites we've seen so far, like Conquest, Anissa, Lucan, and Thula, and he's going to be a difficult enemy for Mark and his dad to overcome going into the future of the series. Another powerful villain we could potentially see in Season 4 is Dinosaurus, who's also extremely formidable. Also, his powers are very weird. For context, his real name is David Anders, and he has the power to transform into a super intelligent dinosaur-like monster whenever he gets bored. Kinda weird, right? Well, he's literally one of Invincible's worst enemies in the comics and literally blows up Vegas, turning it into a sea of glass. I'm curious to see how they approach this villain going into the 4th season, or if they'll wait till Season 5 to introduce him. But either way, it is going to be interesting, and I'm all but certain they'll bring him into the 4th season because he does appear in Invincible's blue suit era. I'm also curious to see what happens to Alan and Nolan. I mean, not only have they escaped a Viltrumite prison, but Nolan has also revealed to Alan the shocking truth that there are less than 50 pure-blooded Viltrumites left in the galaxy. This has huge implications for the story going forward, and I'm very curious to see how they approach it because based off of what we saw with the scene with Darkblood, it's highly possible that the series may adapt much more original content than we originally thought. Also, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering when when Season 4 will actually premiere, and I'm thinking it'll premiere probably in early 2026 at the earliest, and here's why. For starters, there was less of a break between Seasons 2 and 3 compared to the first 2 seasons, and this will also give them time to animate everything. I mean, I'm sure they don't want to disappoint with this upcoming 4th season, especially given how highly acclaimed Season 3 was. I mean, it literally scored 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is just incredible for an animated series. Plus, I'm curious to see who else they're going to bring in to Invincible in terms of voice actors. I have heard a lot of fan requests that people want Punisher actor Jon Bernthal to play Thragg, and I think he'd be perfect. Now, I know he hasn't done voice acting. I mean, the guy literally plays the live-action rendition of Punisher. But at the same time, neither did some of these other actors like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and look at how he did Conquest in the final episode. I mean, he made the perfect Conquest, and he made him sound all the more savage. Either way, I love Season 3 of Invincible, and I'm super stoked to see where Season 4 goes. But I want to hear your thoughts. What was your favorite part of Season 3? When do you guys think Season 4 is going to premiere? Do you think we'll get maybe an animated special like we did with Adam Eve before Season 2 premiered? Let me know in the comments section below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you're up to date with all the latest news and reviews. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.